Yo, this is Christian, and in this video I want to show you my 2022 strategy for becoming a remote developer. I want to explain to you every single detail so you can copy and paste it for yourself. So if you like the idea of living up to your potential, becoming a remote developer, traveling the world and making six figures writing code from your laptop, then pay attention now because this video is for you. This video is gonna be goal-oriented. Rather than you do this, then this, etc., etc. This is really gonna be more like if you do this, then you can go to the next step kind of thing. So before we even get started with this, I want to mention a few traits that you should be having. The first thing is that you have to be self-motivated. Well, no one is gonna care about your success more than you care. I don't care, your mom doesn't care, your girlfriend doesn't care, your friends don't care. The only person who really cares about you is yourself. If not, keep going in your current career. There is no need for you to do anything. So you need to be self-motivated to make a career change, especially if you are working a full-time job. You have 8 hours of work, 2 hours commuting, maybe you go to the gym and then you have like 2 hours where you have to squeeze something in. You have to be really motivated to do this. And there is no motivation trick that I can give you. You need to find the time and you need to make sure that you are not spending years literally learning this, because otherwise motivation is gonna start to chop at you even if you love programming. So you need to find a way to keep yourself motivated for 3 years if you do this by yourself. So be prepared for that. You also need to be humble. In the beginning, you might get some quick wins and you might think you are the shit, but soon you realize how little you know. And also you need to be ready for violent action. What is violent action? You must do whatever it takes to get where you want to get. And if you think that watching a couple of courses or building just a couple of projects is enough, you are wrong. You are wrong when you think that something is done and good enough. You are wrong. You have to do more. You have to do more and more and more. If you just do things for filling out your time, then you're going to be left behind by others who are professional and by others who are doing this for years and working professionally. Because remember, you're not competing with other junior developers, because the other junior developers have no value on the market. You are competing with people that have 5-10 years of experience when you're applying for a job. Your CV is gonna be against someone that has 10 years of experience. That's how you have to approach this, because there are not enough junior dev jobs to fulfill the demand. For every 100 junior developers, you'll have one job. So then you have to apply for regular jobs, and to apply for regular jobs, you need to be really good. So with that out of the way, let's get started with my system, or the system that's gonna work in 2022. The first thing that you need to know, obviously, is HTML and CSS. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. So many people are recommending you to learn CSS grid and stuff like that, but I would say be really good at Flexbox and leave grid for later. Grid is nice to have, but you'll see throughout this video that I always focus on literally knowing one thing and knowing it really well. If you know that thing really well, which is Flexbox, then you can pick up other things. But the curse of the junior developer is that it knows a bit of everything. From here, from there, from over there. You have to develop depth in knowledge, not breadth. You'll get the breadth once you get hired and once you get more experience. And that's why you're a junior developer, because you are an expert in nothing. You just know a little bit of everything. You waste months because you are excited, I understand. You want to learn this, you are really excited about this whole industry, and you actually want to know pretty much everything. You want to know servers, databases, you want to know GraphQL, but everything becomes like a huge mess because you are so excited to learn everything, but it doesn't work like that. If you really want to become a professional, you need to squeeze in your focus and attention on one specific thing for long enough time, until you become at least decent at it. So with HTML and CSS, learn Flexbox. Then to figure out if you are really good at HTML and CSS, replicate a landing page that you like. If you show it to someone else, to a friend let's say, and your friend doesn't think that's a real website, you are not done. You have to do it again. Then you do it again. And make sure that every font, color, margin, padding, every single thing is exactly the same as on the original website, and then you show it to someone else. And if that person thinks that is the real website, that means you know HTML and CSS to a decent level. If not, then you have to do it again. That's how it works. That's called experience. But most people have no patience to get the experience. You want to learn the quick things, the quick tutorials. It's not about learning more skills. It's about learning how to apply the skills that you know. Again, this is not sexy advice, but this is what works. Literally right now, if you can copy the Nike website from scratch, you can go on Fiverr and start making money with your skill set. There you go, your first goal. Second goal, learning JavaScript. What is JavaScript? Why you need it? Well, JavaScript is a programming language. And no, I'm not going to make a stupid joke like JavaScript is not the same thing as Java. You probably already know that, and probably you've been reading about this anyway. But JavaScript is going to allow you to make your websites interactive, and later down the line, you'll be writing web applications using JavaScript. There is a big misconception between building websites and building web applications. We don't want to build websites because if you want to build websites, you need to focus on the text that's on the page. When you build a web application, you focus on data, state management, etc., things that we'll talk about later. For example, my website is just a website. It's just a presentational website. You can click on the link in the description and you can check it out. A few pictures and videos, some text, blah, 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 that's it. That's a website. On the other hand, YouTube is not a website. YouTube is a web application. Facebook is a web application. Twitter is a web application. That's what we want to build, an application that the user can interact with. And to be able to do that, we need to learn JavaScript. To learn JavaScript, there are a few things that you have to consider. The first step you need to consider is that you need to get the basics done. And when you start learning JavaScript, if you previously only did HTML and CSS, you will be humbled really quick because HTML and CSS are not programming languages and you haven't been programming at all so far. So now when you are going to learn JavaScript, your mind is going to be bent because of the expectations that you have previously set. So you have to remove those expectations from your head and be prepared to suck it up for 2-3 months while your brain is rewiring and can understand the world in a programming way. Now, when you start learning JavaScript, you have to get the basics: loops, arrays, objects, if-else statements, functions, variables, strings, numbers, etc. You need to understand these concepts and you need to understand them at a holistic level. What are they supposed to do? What are they used for? Why are they needed? Where are they needed? Where are they created? You always have to ask yourself why instead of how. In the beginning, you'll focus a lot on getting down the syntax, okay? That's the first thing that you need to know. A lot of people are saying, oh, don't worry about the syntax, you'll learn the syntax later. Yeah, say that to a pro that comes from a different language. I wanted to learn Solidity and yeah, I was able to pick up the syntax because I already knew how to program. But if you don't know how to program, your first step shouldn't be learning how to program, but your first step should be learning the syntax. You should be writing so much code so often that it becomes second nature, because then when you want to write the program, you can fetch the syntax from your brain and you're not going to be stopped by your inability of writing the syntax. After you learn the syntax and the basics of programming, you can start to learn how to manipulate the DOM. Very important. You'll see that throughout this process, I'm going to ask you to struggle a lot with JavaScript, right? So you can appreciate the tools that we have right now as developers. So you need to learn how to manipulate the DOM. The DOM is basically the HTML and CSS that you just created. So how can you create more HTML using JavaScript? How can you change the CSS or the styling of your page using JavaScript? These are some of the questions that you should be asking yourself. Then you need to learn how to work with data, how to see everything in data, how to see the arrays, the objects, the booleans that are displayed on the page. When you stop seeing the pretty design and you start seeing the data that's being displayed on the screen, that's the next level shit. Once you understand how to work with data, and then you start to kind of pick up on this idea of state and data, then you're ready to learn something called React. React is going to allow you to build really complex web applications. And for what you care, is going to allow you to make a shit ton of money. We want to learn React because we can build complex applications and then we can find work and we can get paid for our skill. If you learn jQuery, yeah, you can find work, but then you're not going to be paid so well because the skill of jQuery is very entry level. It's easy to pick up. You have to pick up skills that are difficult to learn that pay you good money. React is easy to learn and difficult to master. I don't know how, for example, a bootcamp student can learn React in 2-3 weeks. You know, for me, that's absolutely insane. But anyway, maybe they're brushing just over the basics, you know, spending 10, 15, 16, 20 grand for training to just touch up on the basics. Anyway, I'm just a hater. Now, once you learn React and once you get really good at it, then it's time to start learning Redux. It's quite an advanced topic for a beginner, but Redux is essentially allowing us to handle the application state, the current configuration of our application. Redux gets paired really well with React, so that is gonna be looking really good on your resume. It's almost impossible to get a React job without knowing Redux or another state management library. There are multiple other state management libraries, but I prefer Redux because it has a lot of documentation and is being used by a lot of people. And again, if you understand the concept, you can jump in and learn another library. So don't listen to what all these devs are telling you out there. If you learn one thing and you know what's the purpose of that thing, then you can pick up anything else. But for a beginner, you just have to focus on using the same thing over and over and over again. For example, 2 of my clients got Vue jobs, even if I only taught them React. That is possible because they understand the why. They understand what is the purpose of the technology. That gets you paid. Now, once you have all the skills, you'll be building a ton of projects in the meantime to practice these skills. But you cannot apply for any job with these practice projects because that's amateurish. You don't want to apply with a weather app or to-do app. That's not going to impress anyone. What you want to do is you want to create a master project, something that takes you maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months even. And the reason why you have to do that is that you want to build experience. Working on something for a long time gives you experience. You start to see patterns, mistakes you've made in the beginning that shouldn't happen next time. If you do this, you can prove that you can get a job and hit the ground running. This is why my students are getting hired within a month after they start applying for jobs, because they've been working so hard on a single project. They have experience and they show that to people that they know the thing that they are supposed to know. Comparing that with a bootcamp grad or a self-taught developer, what I'm seeing is that they are spending so much time networking or posting on LinkedIn because they heard some weird advice. They are taking advice from people that are very far in their career, and then they are wondering why it doesn't work. If I take advice from Jeff Bezos on how to live my life or what is he doing, like what are his 5 habits or 5 things that he's doing during the day, I'll be broke in an instant. If I tell you how I live my life right now, you'll be broke in an instant, because the way I do things right now is based on 10 years of previous work that I've done. And then the software developers that are telling you otherwise, like have some mediocre apps and start becoming friendly on LinkedIn and do all these connections, that's not gonna take you very far, because it does not apply to your situation. Your goal should be to become as good as a software developer or engineer as possible, so they can't ignore you. That's your goal. Get so good they can't ignore you. Again, I showed you what my clients are working on in a previous video, so feel free to copy that if you want. But that's the system. Again, it's not sexy, but that's how it works. These are the things you need to become a developer this year. In fact, I've been using this system for the past 3 years with my clients. It works well. It never let me down, and if you don't believe me, check out the testimonials. See if I'm right. Anyway, if you want to work with me and apply the system to your own unique situation, and you want to actually stop procrastinating and do something about your career, I invite you to be part of the 1%. What is the 1%, you might ask? Well, in life, 99% of people are broke, 99% of people are failures, 99% of people are living a mediocre life, are unfit, have shitty holidays, drive beat up cars. 99% of people are not living up to their potential, and there is just that 1%. That 1% that's going to click the link in the description. That 1% is going to do something about their lives. It's just 1%. Just 1% is willing to go the extra mile to get their life sorted. Just 1% of people are willing to learn a skill that would allow them to work remotely. Just 1% of people will be making 6 figures out of this. The rest, the 99%, will be stuck in tutorials, frustrated, going to a job they don't like just to pay the bills and never living up to their potential. That's the 99%. Are you going to be the 1% today, or are you going to be the 99%? The choice is always yours. Until next time, yours truly, Christian.